Welcome to the Kent Lapp Podcast.
This is you. This was your idea, guidance.
Oh yeah.
It's your deal.
Yeah. So I was in LA. My background is marketing. I was marketing director for a healthcare facility. So we did about, 30 or 40, 50 events a year, right? Hosting other doctors, all kinds of stuff. And the liquor bill was through the roof. Through the roof. Doctors consume a lot of alcohol.
I believe that.
So if you gotta say you got a $200,000 budget for the year, I'd say 100,000 was on.
Really?
And so it just became a thing. Like, man, you need to be a part of this, right?
Yeah.
But at the time, I'm consider myself to be an innovator outside the box. I like to have a lot of fun. So I was gonna do a sake at first.
Oh wow.
I don't know if you saw that in anything.
I did not.
I was gonna do the first thing I ever wanted to do was a sake. I was gonna
Why
be the
though?
first black-owned sake ever.
Oh really?
Yeah,
But do you like sake?
So that's the thing.
Because if you start a sake brand, you should probably drink some of it too and like it a little bit.
Man,
you know what I mean?
You are asking the right questions today. So yeah, that was the thing. I contacted a friend of mine, Stacy Diltz at the time. Now she's Stacy Thomas, but she was a wine broker. And at the time, she had just become one of the only Black female certified sake people in the country. I didn't know that when I called her. When I said, hey, think about getting in the spirits industry. I know you got some background. Can you just point me in the right direction? I'm thinking about sake. And she goes crazy. Like, oh my God, yes, sakes are so amazing. And she's just going down the history. She's like, I just got back from Japan. And she's like, cool. And she sent me like a bunch of samples. Okay.
Of sake.
Okay. Hot sake, cold sake, like all that. I started drinking it, and man, I just didn't like it.
You couldn't get there.
I didn't love it. It wasn't that I didn't like it. It was something after a hard day of work, I wasn't going to come in the house and say, honey, can you fix me a sake, right?
Exactly.
It wasn't something I could drink every day.
Yes.
And I couldn't have my first product be something that I don't want to say stand behind, because I am going to come back and release a sake.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I got to.
Yeah.
That's just the innovator now. I'm like having fun. But I couldn't have my first product be something that I really just didn't drink a lot of.
Yeah.
Or have the time to understand, because even with the whiskey, because we contract to distill it, I've learned more about whiskeys after being in the whiskey business than I knew before.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And so a lot of people hate to admit that. They need to act like they know it all. I'm still a student.
Yes.
To this day.
Yep. But it's a subject matter that's interesting to you, and you enjoy learning more about it, and you enjoy, seeing people drink it and the joy on their face, and you enjoy drinking it. Like, I feel like that was the way to go. I feel like over that sake.
Yeah.
Not that you shouldn't do sake one day, but I never really got there with sake, honestly. I have friends that like it. If we go to a more Japanese restaurant, they'll order it, and I'll sip some. I don't particularly care for it.
Right.
I haven't had that much of it either, so maybe it's something you acquire a taste for. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But if there's an option for something like this, I'm going to go this way all the time.
And I drank whiskey, and that was my favorite drink at the time. And when I decided to move back to Nashville, at that time, Jack was lobbying to change the laws on what's a Tennessee whiskey. So, their process, that charcoal process that they use, I don't think anybody else uses it, because it's extensive, it's expensive, and but they have it down to a science. But just from a business standpoint, if you look at anything they're trying to change the laws around, it means that it's big. It means that it's generating, they're trying to corner a market. So I was like, okay, whiskey for sure.
Okay.
But I got tired of, you'll hear me say this all the time, I got tired of lying about what I like. Like in those meetings when we're doing all stuff with the doctors, somebody will give you some 10-year scotch or 15-year bourbon, and you're standing there and you're drinking it, and it is burning a hole in your chest.
Right.
And you're like, "Oh, Frank, yeah, that's good."
Yeah, I can really taste that afterburn on that.
The oak on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, bro. you get tired.
I know
of
what
that.
you mean.
Yeah, you get tired of that, and and it made me actually stop wanting to drink because I didn't enjoy it anymore. So I wanted a product that I love drinking. You know what I mean? Like, we'll sit here, if we sat here long enough, we polish off half of this bottle.
Yep.
Because it's smooth.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And then the meeting I was just in this morning, two guys, they started the conversation before they tasted. They said, "Look, man, be honest with you. I don't really like whiskey. We don't really drink whiskey." I said, "That's fine. Just give it a little taste of this right here." And they loved it. And so what's starting to happen is people aren't whiskey drinkers. They're guidance drinkers.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know, people always try to ask me, what would I compare us to? And in most things you can compare some stuff, you know, Jack and Jameson, you know what I mean? With a little variations. I haven't found, and I love whiskeys, I haven't found any that I can compare guidance to, which just means that we're starting down a path of our own.
Do you enjoy Jack Daniel's whiskey?
Do I enjoy it?
Yeah.
I enjoy single barrel, and I have some of their cold press that I like. The cold, with the barrels, they store them up in the colder part of their warehouse. But just regular old number 7.
I can't drink it. I'm just going to be honest.
It'll kill you.
I just can't. It's the one whiskey. It's a whiskey, right? It's not bourbon, but I mean, it's not a knock on Jack Daniel's. I've heard the tour at their location is pretty great.
It's amazing.
So I'd like to go.
Recommend it.
Well, a lot of people have, and I still haven't gone to do it. So I'd really like to, but I never buy Jack Daniel's ever.
Yeah.
I guess I haven't tried a lot of the more expensive stuff, but that might be okay. It's just that's the one. Almost any other bourbon, $20, $30, $50 bottle. Very few bourbons have I bought and didn't like, but Jack Daniel's is one that I just don't care for.
Go and do a tasting because they let you taste about 5 or 6 of them. They have a lot of different stuff too at the distillery that you don't see on the shelves. So it'll give you a chance to try some of it. And that's the thing when you look at, even for guidance, I haven't heard anybody say that they don't like it. I have heard there's some guys that maybe consider themselves to have a more developed palate and they want a little burn.
Okay.
You know, so they're saying, okay, well, you got 100 proof, they want.
Okay.
But they'll never say they don't like this.
Yep.
They just want a heavier, harder kick to it.
So if you did that, would that be a different batch or would that be like guidance burn or like a sub brand of guidance if you wanted to come out with a whiskey that had more pop?
Well, it's funny you should ask. I just got our 100 proof samples in.
Okay.
And they are testing really, really well.
Okay.
Because this is what I like. But we wanted, so for guidance, I mean, there's no gimmicks, there's no flash. We wanted to become your favorite whiskey person to person. And that's really, COVID did a number on us because that's how we grow the brand, is tastings.
Oh, okay.
We like to get in front of you.
By the way, pull that mic. No, just pull the mic towards you. Yeah, you can sit wherever you want. Just pull that mic. Okay. For a big man, you speak pretty quietly, softly.
Yeah. That works for. That works in the club, man.
Oh, does it? Oh, that's smooth. Okay, okay. All right. So it's a learned trait.
Yeah, you get it.
All right.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things that we wanted to. I forgot, what were we talking about?
100 proof. You got some samples of 100 proof in.
Yeah, and we tested, and people are loving it because the flavor is still there, and there's a bigger bite, but you're still getting that smooth finish.
So when that comes out, does that replace this, and every bottle of guidance that people start buying going forward is the 100 proof, or do you have?
No.
Okay.
It'll be a different variation.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
So it'll be guidance 100 proof.
I see. And this one you said was
80. 80 proof.
80, which means it's 40% alcohol by volume, right?
There you go.
Okay. Okay. So when was this Atlanta? When was the idea for guidance? How long ago or what year?
Well, we launched in 18, started working on it in 16.
Oh, wow. So that's relatively recent.
Yep.
Why does this say, so this bottle right here, it says distilled May 27th, 2017, and then master distiller. That's your signature, right?
Yeah.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Ridgel.
Ridgel. Bottle number 1683, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
It says of 2004. Why does it say of 2004?
That's of 2004 bottles in that batch.
Oh, okay. It's not the year. I see. Oh, I see. Got it. This is bottle 1683 of 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay. So the Atlanta, you're having all these doctors parties and spending a ton on alcohol, and you had this idea of starting your own whiskey brand. When was that? You said 16?
Yeah, 16.
Okay.
And we tried to, we had the whole sake
Yep.
thing. And when we landed on whiskey, and like I told Stacy, we want to do a whiskey, she was like, all right, we had to start finding a distillery that would contract distill for us. Now that's a very easy thing. It's easier. It's not the easiest thing. I was on a call with some guys today that were having some trouble that were helping, but it's way easier now than it was then, because distillers wanted to know, wait, are you famous? Are you a football player? You got $1 million?
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna buy?
Mm-hmm.
How much are you gonna? And we didn't know any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they had preset things that you could buy, white label.
Interesting.
And they wanted you to, you could pick from that. Heard no a whole bunch of times, man. I mean, a whole bunch of times. Ended up finding a small distillery that's probably a little bit bigger than this room we're in. And the guy was like, yeah, I'll work with you. And that was the journey.
So you found this very small distillery, because the size of this room does not seem, I would picture most distilleries would be quite a lot larger than that.
Yeah.
So you found this small distillery in Iowa?
Mm-hmm.
How?
Through
just
trial and error, and Stacy had some connections with some people that gave us some folks to call.
Would you ask, when a distiller gave you a no, would you ask him, hey, would you know anyone else I should check with? Or is the conversation over at that point?
It's different. Some we did, and some we just didn't. Like they shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's interesting, right? Because you never know what's going to be that thing.
Right.
Kind of like even music. Like, you never know what's going to be that thing.
Exactly.
But for them, they're employing people. You know what I mean? I get it from their side, right? Being a business owner, I'm like, you have to decide what you're going to take a chance on and what you're not. Now, they wish they had.
I'm sure.